Yinka Adedigba, if you are online, you can start the class, please. So it's 10 minutes after 9, so you can start, please.
Okay, good morning, sir, and good morning, everyone. It's good to see you. Thank you very much, sir, for the opportunity. So I'll share my screen now. I have a lot of things to share, so I'll just share my entire window. Um, okay. So once again, welcome to the day 2 of our literature review, The Boats and Not. My name is Adeyinka Adedigba. And today's learning outcome will be to understand the different types of literature review that we have. And I'll also be sharing with you how we can search for this literature and how to use the advanced searching technique. So you, at the end of this workshop today, you should be able to use advanced searching techniques, and you should be able to create a research space for your own study in literature review, and you should be able to use a review template that we're going to be sharing with you at this class. So just as an overview and to put today's class in, today's workshop in perspective, yesterday Engineer Jibril dealt extensively with us about literature review, everything we need to know. So today is going to be a little bit of talk, a lot of practical and hands-on. So so this is the systematic approach to desktop research. You start with your research question, which could be the problem definition or your research problem, and then you define the protocol, the the study selection criteria, and all of that. Then you need to identify where to search your literature. That's online search database, online databases, and if possible, maybe some library database, but we are in 21st century. We prefer to use online databases. So then you coin out your own list of keywords that will be necessary and useful for your own. There will be also, and then you can use these keywords together like a Boolean construct, and we're going to see that. But all of this constitute how you search for literature. When you search for the literature, you download it and analyze your literature. But then this loop where you write a list of your keywords and construct this, the search, advanced search criteria, and how you do the search is what we'll be doing a little bit of practical hands-on in today's class. And of course, Engineer Jibril also showed us yesterday how to do a little bit of analysis and even construct the review that we are interested in. So we will continue in this light. So just a little bit again, what is literature review for the purpose of those that are joining us today for the first time? The term literature is the body of scholarly work on a particular topic, and it could be a formal analysis or a critique. It could be a survey that highlights or summarize or even synthesize and interpret, critique the body of work that you are considering. So literature review is key part for proposal, that's for grant proposal, research grant proposal, or any kind of research proposal, research paper, be it journal article or conference article, and it also could be for reports like undergraduate project reports, MSc thesis, PhD thesis. All of these constitute literature review. So your literature review could, like I said, be a part of your thesis, a proposal, dissertation, and report. And we also have review paper, which is a published article that synthesizes the work that has been done on a particular topic. And this is one of the goal of this workshop, that at the end of this workshop, we should be able to come up with a review paper. And so in today's workshop, we'll be looking extensively at this number 2. How can we do a review paper? So, and then we have mini literature review. This is usually like an assignment. I know Prof gave one to his PhD student, and one of my friends was telling me about. So this one is usually a restricted number of publication. Maybe they tell you to review 50 papers, and this is a mini literature review. But today, our key focus will be on this number 2, how to write a review paper. Now we have types of review paper as well. We have a systematic review. Um, um, this is one of the best literature review you can read and you can write. It's actually a very elaborate work, and when you read it through, you see that it is quite elaborate. The purpose is to synthesize and critically assess literature to see the way in which a particular issue is understood. So you may look at the evolution of a particular field. You may look at different techniques that are brought to bear in a particular field or to address a particular problem. You can see the advantage, the strength, and the weaknesses of those techniques. You can synthesize them together, that's juxtapose them, look at the area of, the area of strength of this one, the weakness of that one, see how the weakness of this one can be answered for by the strength of this one. So the idea is to introduce either new researcher or even the people that are researching that field to different other plethorias of techniques and possibility that exist within that study area. So the purpose is to produce understanding, a great and detailed level of understanding. The second one we have is the state of art review. Just like the way it sounds, the, the purpose of the review is to look what are the current trends, agreements, debates, policy, theories, folk. That is the idea of that. It is to put it is to identify where are we in the history of research in this area, in this particular area of research, and that is the state of the art review. The next one is expert review. Expert review, like state of the art review also, but it is only taken by a senior figure. And probably you will have seen this kind of expert review. I read one this year. It is a Turing lecture. It is actually a review. For those of you that are for those of us who have been researching artificial intelligence, um, there are two people that own Turing Award. That's Joshua Bengio and Geoffrey Hinton. So the two of them were invited to write the Turing lecture. It is a review paper. It explores where artificial intelligence stands from, where we are going, how it's going to take us to reach there. So it is a paper that when you read, I mean, actually, you need to at least have a level of understanding of the field before you read an expert review. But it is also a review and it is possible. They not only talk about what they have done, the experts, they're not just talking about their own research, they talk about the research of others, even though they may introduce their own as well. They also talk about things that have gone out of vogue and things that are just in vogue, things that we should even be expecting. That is what an expert literature review is. And there is also scoping review. This review set out to create an agenda for future research, and this is where doctorate research comes in place, and also some research that you write for, some literature review you write for grants. The idea is to show that although a lot of things has been done in this place, there's still gaps that needs to be filled. That's the purpose of scoping review. And also we have traditional review. Of course, this is what many of us are used to, somehow like scoping review, but its argument is not to create a space, so to say, but rather it is to position a piece of research that has been undertaken. So what it means is that, say for instance, I build a drone that is surveying a pipeline for Nigerian NNPC, for instance, and because that's the research, I want to publish it in an article. Remember, I have built my drone, I have tested it, but now I want to publish it. So I need to carry out a little literature review to position my research as to what is the theoretical background, what has people been doing, why do I have to do what I have done, and all of that. That is what traditional literature review seeks to answer. Well, before I go on, because because this my own class is an hybrid, it has to be practical. So I'm going to show you a bit of some of this paper. I have them a little bit here. Okay, sorry, I may need to reload quite of them. All right, so this one is already loaded. So let's look at this. By the time I finish taking this one, I will ask for question. That is how I will take this class. I won't wait till the end of the class before I ask for question. I'll just ask for question along as I'm going. All right, so let's look at this one. This is this one is actually combining two things together. It is a conceptual framework and a systematic review. Application of machine learning techniques for driving behavior analysis. You can see. So this is a conceptual framework and a systematic literature review. Fine. We're going to look at them in depth, but I just want us to go through it together. Now, this is a digital twin for cybersecurity incident prevention, a multifocal literature review. Somebody will ask me, Adeyinka, you didn't tell us there's anything called multifocal literature review. Well, multifocal literature review is a systematic review. That is what it's telling in this place, that it's a type of systematic literature review, permits the abbreviation, where the data from both scientific and grey literature are accepted and is referred to as multifocal literature review. So I hope we get it. All right, so we're going to look at this in depth also. Now, this is a systematic literature review of learning-based traffic accident prevention based on heterogeneous sources. This is also a systematic literature review, right? And this one is a literature review. Wow. Oh, I made a mistake. I should have downloaded an expert's review as well. But I think I'm just going to search for that. Now, this one is a road traffic accident prevention model in a literature review. So let me see if I can quickly search for that paper I said I read early this year. Turing lecture, Benjio. All right, let me see if that will come up so that I will just, okay, this is still loading. Okay, scientific integrity and down that, no, yes, it's this one. All right, so I just want us to see how an expert review look like. Please, I hope you can still hear me. I'm not hearing any movement in the class.
Yes, we
Yes,
can hear you, sir.
you are loud and clear from here.
Okay, thank you. All right, I did show this one. This is a review of learning-based traffic accident prevention model and their opportunities to improve information security. So this is a traditional literature review. And why I say it's a traditional literature review will be clear when we begin to look at them in depth. All right, I think this one is loading, so I may need to. So let me start from a systematic literature review. Oh, this one is a multifocal. Yeah, this is a systematic literature review. There should be one more systematic literature review from Elsevier. All right, this is a systematic literature review and a concept paper. Okay, let me do this one. All right, this is a systematic literature review. What makes it a systematic literature review? Let's look at it. I hope you can also search for it and get it. It's online, so I don't think I need more problems. So if you can open it, or if you can download it and read it much later, it will be better. So we'll not read it. It's 27 pages. All right. So let's look at it. In systematic literature review, it is a strategic literature review. It takes a lot of planning, and that is even written in the paper. So you see a literature review that has material and method. Maybe someone have told you that when you are writing a literature review, you don't need methodology. In a systematic literature review, you need that. All right, what are the methods? You can see planning the review. So in planning the review, some research questions have to be asked. So seven research questions were asked in this place. So you can see now conducting the review. Now in conducting the review, what is the search strategy? And part of the strategy for searching includes some keywords that we're going to look at very shortly. I'm going to explain that very shortly. But then you see where they look at, that's the search engine and databases they look for, the command that they look for that constitutes it, when they search for it, and the total number of papers they got there. I hope that's very clear. So that is the search strategies that they use. Now, after the search strategy, they got a lot of paper. You can see a whole lot of paper. This is 618. This is 612, and that's another 397. Oh my God, who is going to read all of this? So there's need for a selection criteria. Selection of the study. So they have inclusion criteria and they have exclusion criteria. And so by the time they apply these two, they are going to have a reduction in this whole amount of literature that was searched. All right. Then you see quality assessment. I took a class on Saturday where I was telling people about quantitative review and qualitative review. So this one is talking about a qualitative review. And so you see, they have questions, that answer them how to measure the quality of this research, because they're not just going to include any study. It's too much. That's more than 1,500 literatures to read. So they have a lot of things that they put in place. They want to read papers that is not just a trash paper. They want to assess the quality of the paper before they can write the review. So that is their own qualitative assessment. So like I said, please, you may read this index, but the goal is just to show this. Now, all of these things that I said now, this is their own method of doing this systematic literature review. In fact, by going through this, we've not read the paper, but you too, you know that a lot of strategies were put in place just to review this paper. And maybe you can even begin to have a feel of what this kind of paper is going to be. All right. So they have a planning where they set their research question, they have set strategy and the databases they are going to be searching, selection criteria, quality assessment, data extraction. So when they do data extraction, that is where they are going to read the paper, and then it is in the result they are going to discuss or review the paper itself. So which is trying to say, what I'm trying to say all along is that for a strategic literature review, it doesn't start with, I got a paper online and I'm reading. That's not where it starts from. The strategic literature review starts with a question. What am I doing? What do I want to do? Why am I doing what I want to do? Setting out your research question. That's where you start. And then go on to search for everything that can answer your research question. And when you do that, of course, you have to put in your own selection criteria. Where do I want to search? There are some databases that you may not want to search for whatever reasons that you come up. For instance, we're going to see that there's a lot of databases, whereas they chose 5 databases here. So we're going to look at that very shortly. But I hope this is clear from here. I'm going to take your question in a minute. Let's look for the second one. This is another kind of strategic literature review, systematic literature review, permit me. Another kind of systematic literature review. And this one, why it is called multifocal is because it considers both scientific and grey literature. Grey literatures are literatures that are not scientific, so that is possible. Now, look at them as well. They're starting with a research question. They have just 2 questions they want to consider, which is fine. Now, their strategy for searching is also there. The data set, the search terms, you see, is there. The process of their searching, how they are going to have their inclusion and exclusion criteria and all of that. So you can see their inclusion and exclusion criteria. So again, this is just to tell you that a systematic literature review doesn't start with just reading. It starts with a question. and it takes a lot of strategies before you can do it. So this is a conceptual framework and a systematic literature review. All right, so we can just go through this one as well and see. So we have a little, please somebody should please mute this person. Thank you very much. All right, so they start with a conceptual framework and they are reviewing different concepts that is associated with their own area of study, and then they come into you can see different environments, different things that they are reviewing. But exactly what I want to show with this is the number of pages that this is. Remember, this is a double-sided paper, and for it to be up to 27, let me try to simplify that. One page is like 1.5, sorry, 3 of these pages will make 2 pages of a full, sorry, 2 of these pages will be 3 of a full paper. And if we do a rough estimate like that, that means like this paper is like 40 pages paper, and it is review. So it is in depth, and when you come into a field like this, even if you are novice, by the time you pick this kind of paper and you read, you will have an understanding of what that area actually means. All right, so this is a traditional review, and you are going to see that it doesn't have much to do as such, right? So you can see their own. All right, so this is not traditional, I'm sorry. This is a state-of-the-art review. Sorry, I think it was said somewhere here. Yes, this study presents a state-of-the-art, so you can see it is a state-of-the-art literature review. It is a state-of-the-art literature review, and that is where this comes in. What they just focus on is the current state of the art, and they divide the you can see they break down the problem into different subheadings, and they were looking at researches that stand out, that constitute the state of the art in that, although they didn't bother themselves to just explain or tell us what it involved. So it is you now that, having seen this, you now go and pick the paper and read, so you can see. All right. Okay, I wanted to show you, oh my gosh, this one failed to load. I wanted to show you Turing lecture, but unfortunately it's not loading. All right. Okay, I think it's loading now. I don't know why it stopped loading. Okay, maybe before it finished loading, did anybody want to ask me a question on types of literature that we have? We have traditional literature review, we have expert literature review, we have state-of-the-art literature review, we have expert literature review, systematic literature review, and we have scoping. I didn't show you scoping here because I cannot lay my hands on any thesis, but that's it's because I didn't search. I'm sorry for that. So is there any question? Do you want to ask any question? Is there any question?
Just an observation.
Okay, sir.
Just an observation. So please, we want you to be zooming in on the test whenever you are showing us the PDF. Just help us zoom in a bit.
Okay. Oh, I'm so sorry. I should have done that earlier. All right. So, but is there any question? There's no question, right? This PDF is not.
Question, please.
Okay, please go
Hello?
ahead. This question. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, well done. Please, I just want to suggest, if I don't know, because you are not done yet with your presentation, but for the purpose of better understanding, I personally will appreciate if there is a tabular major differences between all these type of literature reviews, so that we can easily scroll through the examples of the samples of all the literature reviews you've been showing to us, and we'll be able to look through it on our personal time to see those major differences and be able to understand it better. Thank you.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I didn't have that in this presentation. I just hope that by explaining and showing you these examples, you will be able to learn the differences between all of them. But I didn't have any summary of that. Okay. I just hope that by showing you the
Sorry,
differences.
I want to ask you a question.
Okay, please go ahead, sir.
Sorry, in trying to search for literature, what is your advice, or what is the danger in limiting oneself to a particular search engine, for example, Google Scholar?
Okay, I'm going to talk about that in a minute. So I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Um, but please just hold on. I will answer
Thank you.
that in the course of presentation. Thank you, sir. Okay. All right. So I wanted to
Thank
show
you, sir,
you
for the
this.
presentation. Sorry, please, sir.
Okay, please go ahead, ma'am.
Can I go
Thank you.
ahead with my question? Thank you, sir, for
Yes, you can
the
ask your question.
presentation. But I don't know, sir. Please, can you maybe summarize all this for us so that, or will it be mentioned in the journal? Sorry, in the literature review that this one is a traditional, this is expert, this is state of art, or how do we differentiate between them? Thank you, sir.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. All right, so you know an expert literature review. Well, each one of them actually, by reading, you will know the difference. I mean, by the time you read different one of them, you know the difference. Okay, for experts, the expert will be written by experts in the field. And if you are familiar with the field, definitely you will know the experts in your field. I hope you, I mean, that is clear enough. For instance, if you are familiar with artificial neural network, these three names, I mean AI, these three names, you must know one of them. You know, you must know Joshua Bengio. Joshua Bengio works so much in natural language processing. Most of the breakthroughs that we have in natural language processing can be attributed to Joshua Bengio. And of course, what we have in computer vision now is thanks to Yannick. In fact, Yannick was the first person to bring computer vision to Facebook. He was with Facebook before. So all the bounding boxes that you used to tag your friends in those days, it was from Yannick research. And Geoffrey Hinton. Geoffrey Hinton is like the god, like the grandfather of all of them. He supervised Yannick, he supervised Joshua Bengio. In fact, he supervised most of the big names that we have in artificial neural network now. I mean, sorry, in artificial intelligence now. So what I'm trying to say is that when you see a paper by an expert, of course, the name of the expert itself will tell you that this is an expert review, right? Now, for systematic literature review, some people do well by naming their paper along that line, that it is a systematic literature review, just like this one. Okay, I hope we can see this one better now. So just like this one, a systematic literature review. Some will tell you it is a conceptual study, you know. So this is a systematic literature review and a conceptual framework. But even if it is not said, by the time you look into the paper and you see the way the study is laid out, you will know that this is a systematic literature review. For instance, every systematic literature review, we have to tell you, if not they are planning, if not they have to tell you they are searching, and they have to tell you their inclusion and exclusion criteria. In fact, for all I have read as well, there has to be some research question that the paper is trying to answer. Excuse me. So these are the things that separate each one of them. Now, for state of the art, it may be said or it may not be said, but when you read the paper, by following the trend, because a state of the art paper will try to show you the trends, I mean the current trend or the past trend that has happened in that particular area. So by the time you see trend, for instance, they may tell you that for identifying of cassava disease in the previous medieval time, the farmers use so techniques to do that, and then in some ages later they begin to use maybe an image processing techniques, and they try to show you different of those techniques that we were using, and then they'll tell you that okay, then in the era of deep learning, these are some of the techniques. They will show you different techniques that is used, and some of them can even be in form of showing you the state-of-the-art result that has been got, that is achieved in that area. And not just showing you the result, they have to tell you the method, the techniques that achieve those results. So by reading the paper, you will know the tone of the paper, the theme of the paper, and that will tell you what kind of paper it is. I hope that is clear a little bit.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Thank you, sir.
Hello.
All right, thank you very much. Yeah, this will be the last question I'll take for now. Yes, please go ahead, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir, I can hear you, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Adeyinka, for this wonderful presentation. My name is Kolawole Aramide from University of Ibadan. Yeah. I just like you have said, I just want to add some things that in literature review, since the purpose of research is to communicate and for people to actually understand what you are communicating. I've read several articles. Along the line, the writer, the reader should take time to look for the keyword. Along the line, the writer will have mentioned maybe in the methodology or in the title or somewhere that this is the kind of literature review that I adopted for this particular study. It's just a matter of the right reader have an eagle eye for what he's reading, he or she is reading, to actually bring out what is doing. Because this is a new qualitative research it's not new, but I think we are just getting used to it. And then there are a lot of qualitative research design experts spread all over the world that we have their names. But for so many of us, we are not familiar. People that are not familiar with experts in this systematic review or this kind of review, the author will have done something, will have mentioned along the line in the course of the paper that, okay, this is what I did. And that is,
thank you very much, sir.
I think, the best way. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah.
All right. So, the next aspect of our lecture will be looking at, the workshop will be looking at how to discover literature review. So now, how do you search for literature review? Now, there are two crucial elements to discovering the literature review, and that is the place you use and the word you use in your search. Now, these are very important because the two of us, like you and I, can go to the same search engine and search for paper. You will not get many paper, and I will get more than enough paper, or you may get more than enough paper and I will not get sufficient paper. In fact, you may get quality papers out, whereas I am getting trash paper. Now, I'm sorry, I know I'm talking to researchers now. Hearing a paper is trash can be a little bit hurt, because all of us write paper, and so it will not be good for somebody to say a paper is trash. But I mean that in context, the context of which paper help your research, which paper doesn't help your research. Just like in agric, when they define weed is any plant that is not wanted, whether it is cocoa or it is whatever other grass. So that's how I use the word trash. All right, so now the place you look depends on the stage you are in your research, the discipline represented in your research, and the importance of currency in your research. So there are some search engine, like somebody had rightly asked, and I'm still going to talk about it. Google Scholar is like a marketplace. Well, a specialized marketplace, so to say, because I know my Oga used to say that the normal Google, all of us know, is the marketplace where everybody comes to, and that is very true. And then Google creates a scholar where it's only the scholar that goes to market in that place. Anyway, it's still a marketplace, but there are some databases that are peculiar to disciplines. For instance, if you are working in anything related to medicine, I think I will not expect you to be searching your paper from Google Scholar. I would rather expect that you are searching from PubMed, and we're going to talk about that very shortly. And so the importance your discipline can help you narrow down, in fact, select which place to look, and also the importance and the currency of your research. If you are looking for paper published in the last 2 weeks, the best place to look is not Google Scholar, because Google Scholar is not easily updated. It's not updated as fast as possible compared to some databases, especially publishing houses. Also, the word you use is quite important. So you must be able to coin out your own keywords and your subject terms by looking at what could be the vocabulary in the catalog or the database, or what are the it words that the database is going to pop more out for you. So for instance, if you want to do anything related to COVID-19, I don't know whatever thing that you will want to do, but you must include the word COVID-19, so you get a lot of paper. But then you are going to get so much paper than is necessary, because so many papers were published just with the name COVID-19. In fact, many of us around that time, we just put among our keywords, COVID-19 must be there because we want it to come out of data search indexes and all of that. But that is just on a lighter note. So this is very important. The place you look and the words you use, they are very important. Now, let's look at the database now. Database is the electronic system for organizing information. Journal databases are where scholarly articles are organized and indexed for searching. There are different types of database, and they include indexes. Now, the indexes is with citations only. You will not get more than that. An example of that is Web of Science. Then there are some databases also for abstract only. Example of that is IEEE Explore. Even if you do not pay, you will see abstract there. You will see citation and the abstract. Then there are full text databases. They come with full text. An example is ResearchGate. You search for a paper in ResearchGate and they have, most likely you're going to get, even if it is not available, they can help you contact the author and they'll get you the full text of that database. So these are the three different types of databases that we have. All right. So why search a database instead of Google Scholar? I said that I'm going to say that. So both can lead you to a good result, but the content is wide-ranging and may not be comprehensive or as current as database that may be updated daily. I think I've said that in the course of discussion. Google Scholar is not updated daily, and I believe many of us will bear me witness. You might have published a paper and your paper is published maybe today, and it will take like a week before you can see it on your Google Scholar. And the reason is that Google Scholar is not updated daily. Now, Google Scholar doesn't disclose their criteria for what makes a result scholarly. In fact, there are sometimes that the result that Google Scholar is bringing for you, patent is part of it. And you'll be wondering, what do you want to do with patents? So, and also, the research often vary in quality and availability. The fact that you see a paper in Google Scholar does not mean that you can have access to it. I mean, talking now from a Nigerian perspective. Okay, so, but again, we need to emphasize the words quality. The quality of the paper may really be something to question from Google Scholar. And that is why specialized databases is much, much better. Lastly, it doesn't give you as much control over your search as you get in some other databases. All right. So these are some databases that you may like. We have Scopus, we have Web of Science, we have Science Direct, IEEE Explore, PubMed, Cielo. Cielo is majorly for humanity and social science. Social science, humanity, education, law. PubMed is just like it sounds, is for medical, so it's medical indexes. Most of it is free and some are not free, but this one, Directory of Open Access Journal, is completely free. Any paper that is open access, you can get it from here. So instead of searching for Google Scholar, I know you're looking for open access paper to read. You don't want to pay IEEE some $33 to read a paper, you know. So I know you're looking at that. So it is better to search for this. JSTOR is also for humanity, humanity, law, social science. Can't remember the other people, but it's not majorly for science. Springer is for everybody, just like Sophia is for everybody. Now, Axiv is for physics, physics, computer science. Now, computer science covers electrical and the likes, electrical and associated fields. And if you're looking for paper on artificial intelligence, it is here. Meanwhile, Axiv is not a peer review database index. So if you see a paper on Axiv, it doesn't mean that it has been accepted on, in a peer review conference or journal publication. So in summary, these are different databases that you may look for instead of Google Scholar. Of course, Google Scholar is still an option if you so do. I use Google Scholar most of the time. Before I think twice, I'm on Google Scholar. So just to say that it is not a crime to use Google Scholar, but there are other options that you may consider. Now, we look at searching operator now. I know my time should be getting close to the end. So we look at search operators. The search operators that you may use in Google, for your search, especially those specialized search engine include and, or, and not. So this is a way to say that, or if you search for a paper with this keyword, solar and energy, this is some sort of paper that you may be expecting to get. So it is a paper that definitely includes solar and energy. If it doesn't have those two words in the keyword or in its title, it will not come out. Now, if you search for power or energy, that means everything that comes out with power or that has energy will come out, not necessarily the two. Now, if you look for papers that have solar, not energy, that means even paper that have solar and energy, this intersection point will not come out for you. So this is just to show how you can use Boolean operator when you are searching for papers. Now, it's not just Boolean operators that you can use. That means and, not, or. They are not the only ones that you can use. You can use wildcard truncation as well. So if you use wildcard or truncation, your search results will contain documents include variation of the term. So for instance, if you use asterisk as wildcard now, it will retrieve for you everything on light, but also lightning. You see the spelling of this lightning and the spelling of this lightning, then lighter, light, every kinds of thing will come out, This may be useful for you, especially if you are working in an area where publication is not that much in that area. So you see that this may actually help you to just see variation of things that may help you. And also for students, I'm saying for students now because undergraduate students, for instance, are very, very new in the area and they may not even know the vocabulary of the field that they are working. So if you don't know the vocabulary of your field, then this kind of thing will help you to get a lot of papers that you can use. So the truncation or wildcard symbols can be either asterisk or question mark. The last one that you can use for your advanced searching is phrase searching. Phrase searching is used to make sure that your search is a specific concept, whereas truncation is going to give you a whole lot of things. This one is going to give you the specific words. So if you search for durable wood products, for instance, it must be this, like whatever result is bringing for you must contain these words. If it doesn't contain it, it's not going to bring it out. All right. So let me ask also for questions before I go to the next. I don't know if I have time to go to the next aspect of the class. There's one more aspect of the class that we need to take.
Okay. We are very grateful for your time. And so you will still have a bit of 15 or 20 minutes for the last part. So we have about three people or three people that want to ask questions.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, okay, please, over to you.
Alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Please go on.
Assalamu alaikum. Hello.
We can hear you, man. Please go ahead, man.
Go
You
on,
can
man.
hear us. Please go
Hear
ahead.
you.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum
Assalamu
salam.
alaikum.
Can hear you. Can proceed.
Please, I have about two questions. The first one is you made mention of we have to get the current 2 years. That when we are searching for the last 2 years literature review, literature work, that we should not make use of Google Scholar. So, which of the database do you suggest? Hello, sir.
Yes, I can hear you. Yes, that's taking, man.
Yes, okay,
Yes,
we
sir.
can
Can
hear
you
you. Please.
Yes, I said you made mention that if you want to search for literature being published for the last 2 years, that we should not
Yes.
make use of Google Scholar. So
Yes, I got the
I'm now
question.
asking, which database are you suggesting for us?
Okay. Okay, please ask your second question, man.
Okay, the second question is you made mention of some database that can give us a full paper, one of which is a ResearchGate. Then the other one you said, if we are looking for abstract and citation only, we should make use of I and triple E. But I want to get the third one.
Okay. Okay, man. Thank you. So I said,
Yes, sir.
if you are looking for index only, that you there are some database that only give you index only, and that's citation only. Citation only. An example
Yes,
of it is Web of Science. Web of Science can give you only citation.
Okay.
Yes, only citation only. Citation only
Okay.
means the name of the person, the title of the the names of the author, the title of the paper, and where it is published. That's what citation.
I know that.
Yes, so citation and abstract, we give you the abstract of the paper and the citation. So IEEE and Google Scholar also do this. Very many other databases also do this. And for full text, ResearchGate can give you that. Also, academia. I know many of us are on academia.
Okay, academia. Okay.
Yes, academia also give that. All right, so
Okay.
talking about search, I didn't say 2 years ago for Google Scholar. I mean something like 2 days ago, just to talk about the currency of
2 days. Okay.
yes,
Okay, 2
how
days.
fast
Okay.
the paper is updated on Google Scholar. So it may not be currently updated, but specific databases like IEEE, IEEE is a publishing house. So if IEEE accepts your paper today midnight, it is updated there. That's what I mean by that. The same goes for Science Direct. Yes, the same goes for Science Direct, Publon, every other kinds of publishing houses. Immediately they accept your paper is published there. But it may not be updated on Google Scholar that immediately.
Thank you, sir. You have met my agitation because I know that in the last 2 years you can get it from Google Scholar, but the explanation given now is clear now. Yes. Thank you, sir.
Very much, man.
I'm very grateful.
Okay.
Hello?
So
Hello?
we are going to take these 4 people together at the same time. Yeah, 3 people at the same time. Number 1, Malam Ismail Olojede, then Malam Yahya Sani, and then Mutiullah Tawakalt. So 3 people. Yeah, okay. Yahya Sani, Ismail Olojede, Mutiullah. can ask.
Okay. Hello.
Hello, sir. Good morning, sir.
How are you doing?
Hi, sir. Thank you.
Good. Yeah. Please, this is my question. Please, is there any difference between systematic review and systematic literature review? That is one. And two, like in the use of
Please, I
this
didn't get that,
truncation,
sir.
like
Sorry, I didn't get your
is there
first
difference
question, sir.
between systematic review and systematic literature review? What are the differences between the two? Or are they the same? That is one. Do you get me?
Yes, I get that.
That is two. And like in the use of truncation, like wildcard, in that aspect of searching for papers, at what point should one be able to fix it? Is it in the form of phrase, in the form of sentence, or just type the word, and after it, then you append the what do you call it, the truncation or the wildcard? And thirdly, whenever I'm into literature review, the use of this AXIV, because I used to my own layman perception, I used to see it as if view it as if it's not a reliable source, because there is no it's only page number that is appended maybe below the page, and there is no name of journal that actually publishes it, all that. So it appears to me as if it's an unreliable source for me to cite. Is there any basis for citing it? Can one cite it?
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
Just hold on, please. Yeah, Ismail Olajede, Malam Ismail Olajede, and then Mutia Tawakalt.
Yes, Prof.
So please go ahead with your question, sir.
Yeah, I was asking the other time that what was the danger, or is it advisable for one to limit himself to a particular search engine like Google Scholar in the course of searching for literature?
Okay, thanks. So, Mutiulai Tawakalt, you can ask your question now. Okay, the last person, Dada Lazak, please kindly ask your question before we proceed to the last part
Okay.
of.
Yeah, thank you, sir. I remember that during my undergraduate, I used more of a scribed some software database, but you didn't mention it. Is it that it's not reliable, or it has been outdated? Scribed.com for project and listing.
Sorry, I
Okay,
didn't get
thanks.
that, sir.
Scribed, SCRIBD.com. Scribed, like that contains a database for project and dissertation. So, or can we cite it, or can we use it, or it's not? Because I use it more in my undergraduate project for literature review and so.
Thanks a lot. And then Mutiulai Tawakal, you can unmute yourself now and ask your question. Tawakal.
She have sent it to the message, to the chat box.
Okay, yeah, let me read it out. Yeah, thanks for that information. Okay, just a minute. Let's see. Okay. Okay, maybe it's Martin. Okay. Yeah, okay, fine. Yinka, you can answer the questions we have now. Number one, what are the differences between systematic review and then systematic literature review? Number two, the use of wildcard at what point? Number three, the axis as a search database. What's your final view? And then number four, do we limit ourselves to one search engine, one database or not? And then the SCREED, that is the list of databases you have mentioned. SCREED seems missing. Over to you, please.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. And thank you for these questions that are quite stimulating. Okay, Well, I don't know that database. Maybe that's why I did not include it. I've never used it before, so I may not be able to say anything so well on it. Maybe Prof will have seen it before. All right. So now, should you limit to a particular search engine? It depends on what you are doing. Now, if you are working on a systematic literature review, which is one of the key objectives of this workshop, you should not limit yourself to a particular literature review. And you can see from the example of the systematic literature review, systematic review I show you, the journal I show you, you can see that they consider 5 different databases. So you should also do that. But if you are working on literature review, maybe for a project, again, maybe not for a PhD thesis, because for PhD thesis, you really want to read from different sources. So you may not limit yourself. But for instance, if you are publishing a paper, you just want to include a section called review of literature, maybe to put your own research in perspective, like I said during the presentation. So for that one, you don't even need up to 10 literature review, 10 literatures to convince anybody that your research um, is worth researching, And for that case, you may not need to disturb yourself about Scopus, IEEE Explorer, and all of that. You may just limit yourself to a single literature. So it's a single database. So it depends on what you are doing before you can do that. Then somebody asked about Active, whether it is because it is not reliable. Well, in a way, Active is reliable. I tried at one point in time to submit a paper there, even though it is not peer review. They have the way of sorting out papers and saying that whether this paper wants to be indexed there or not. Now, primarily, the idea for Active is a preprint database. That means before your paper is accepted for publication in a journal or before you present it in a conference, is it possible for the wide community to start reading and researching alongside with you? That is the purpose of Active. I've had a number of people who have their paper there. It's not really a publication. It is not a publication. Now, whether it is reliable now, I will not be able to say a final word on that, but I've seen it and I've used paper from Active in different of my journal, and nobody has ever raised an eyebrow, even for some paper houses that are very, very critical. None of them has ever flagged an Active source and say it is unreliable. So I believe Prof will be able to talk a little bit on this. I have reservation for publishing there. There have been papers that are even indexed there. Sorry, it's not publishing, indexing. There are papers that are indexed there that were even rejected either in conferences or in journal houses. So it is not an achievement to have your paper there, but that's not saying that papers that are found there, they are not quality paper. They are quality papers that you can get there. And the idea for the index is that before this paper is accepted or published, you can have a preprint place. And even when it is accepted, your citation can start counting right from the time it is indexed there, before it is made available in the place you finally publish. So that's the idea for Active. Now, at what point should you use truncation? Truncation come at the end of the search, just like the example I gave. So it could be light, and at the end of light, you put the asterisk or question mark. So it's usually at the end. So what is the difference between systematic review and systematic literature review? Well, the systematic literature review is what we just discussed. I don't know if there's any difference between systematic review or systematic literature review. If you hear me say systematic review instead of systematic literature review, it may just be for to make me talk faster and save time. All right. So that is, I hope I answer. Sorry, I saw one question on the chat board, how to identify a Q1 or Q2 journal. Well, if it is you trying to publish, like when you are trying to publish, I think the way to identify a Q1 or Q2 journal is from the, okay, personally I use Simanjo, that's a science journal that shows you the index it belongs to on ISI index, whether it is Q1 or Q2. But apart from that, I'm not sure there's a way to know. Maybe you may be able to infer from it when you go to the publishing house when you want to publish. They'll tell you this our publishing house, this particular journal is a Q1 journal, and they'll tell you the impact factor, the site factor, and every other metrics that the paper has, I mean, that the journal house has earned over the year. All right. So I don't know if Prof will want to say one or two things to this question, because there are some that I cannot give a final authority.
Okay, thanks a lot for that. So you have clarified almost everything: systematic literature review and then systematic review to us based on your presentation means the same thing. And then as per some of these databases and the rest, so you have clarified. So nothing else to say except to just advise us that what we are giving is just general opinion. You may meet some other researchers or colleagues that we have contrary opinion. So just don't assume that you have the final say. So that is just what I want to implore all of us. So the materials will be also made available after this class and the rest. But let me quickly share one with us just to add to what you have just shared. Okay, just a minute. So what you are seeing on the screen right now, we can say the differences between systematic literature review and generic literature review. That's what you are seeing on your screen right now. So we will also make this material available just to summarize what Yinka Adedigba have said. And after this, we are also going to make available in tabular form differences between all the literature review types he has mentioned. So please, we will share this with us after the talk. So it only mentioned the difference or differences between systematic review and literature review. Thank you, Yinka. You can proceed.
All right, thank you very much, sir. So the last objective of this is to share with us this reading log that you can use when you are reading and preparing your, okay. All right, so I hope you can see my Microsoft Word page. Please, can you see it? Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes.
also in a bit.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much, sir.
Yes, we can see.
And don't mind that it's black and white. I don't want to start using glass. That's why. All right. So this is a reading log that we hope you can find useful when you are reading, at the point you are reading your literature review. So it is to help you summarize systematic way your literature that you are just reading, and filling it actually doesn't take long. So let's look at it. You fill in you may need to fill the number, maybe number so, and then maybe the field that you are reading at for that particular purpose. Now the paper that you are considering, what is the title or the chapter in book? Where did you get it from? That's the URL. Just in case you have this, you no longer have the paper. The date you access it. Now, how to cite the paper, whether in IEEE or upper format. Then the keywords that the paper has, not the one you use. Every paper has its keywords. Now, this is where it gets now interesting. Title description, that's the article title description. This article title description now is after you have read the paper or you have read the abstract of the paper and you kind of have a feel of what the paper discussed. Now, tell us the title of the paper now in your own words. So maybe okay, let me just look for an article instead of framing one. Okay, yes, see this good one here. Now, improving infield cassava whitefly pest surveillance with machine learning. That is the title of the paper. So maybe I have read the paper and then I can now come and say, in that place I need to fill, I can now say, oh, this paper discuss method of improving infield cassava whitefly pest surveillance with machine learning. You know, that's my way of putting the um, it. Well, that's too generic because I have never read the paper. You know, I may talk about the specific method that he used to improve. For instance, I may say this paper discuss so, like 1, 2, 3, 4 method of improving cassava whitefly pest surveillance. You know, that may be done. Then, yeah, when you are reading, you may have some notes to jot from introduction. But then you can also have the gaps that you identify when you are reading. Maybe the paper failed to do one or two things, or when it's discussing literature, he mentions some things that are gaps in the literature, but he did not fill them, and those gaps are still there. So you may write it. Now, this is a description of the methodology. Usually you fill this by reading the methodology. Now, this is the material methodology. You see the sample preparation, development of model, and all sorts of things. So in this place, you can then summarize what is the method that you use. For instance, I can say that 7,500 images of whitefly infested leaves were collected from so place in Uganda. You know, that's okay for my image acquisition. Then I can say that it was annotated with whatever the name of this annotation means. Then I can go ahead and talk about the method he used. So I can see all his method in this place now. Is using object detection, R cascade, faster RCNN with ResNet 101. So I can have that there and I will put it. I don't need to go in depth to all of this sub thing that is bringing up here. Then, yeah, well, sometimes I may need to maybe to just bring out some key things that probably is introducing. But what I'm trying to say is that this description of methodology, you feel that section in your chapter 3 by reading sorry, I'm saying chapter 3 by reading by reading the methodology of whatever paper that you are looking at. So when you read the methodology, then you can describe in detail, or a summary rather, a summary of what that particular place is talking about. Now, sorry, please, can you mute? Okay. Then lastly, for us that are working in machine learning, we know that the method of evaluation, that's metrics of that paper, is very important. So you may also need to tell us that these are the metrics that he used. So after that, then you are okay to, in your own opinion, what do you think is the strength of the proposed methodology? You know, maybe the strength could be that it's cascading our feature detection with fast RCNN. That may be the strength of the paper. And the weakness of the paper now, also in your own opinion, based on every other thing that you have known since they give birth to you, you know, you may now say, oh yeah, but I know that faster RCNN is not that accurate compared to, say, YOLO. And then I can, sorry, it's not that, what I said is not true. Because faster RCNN is actually more accurate than YOLO. Okay, but faster RCNN now in real life is more computational demanding compared to YOLO. So a valid weakness can be that it is computationally demanding. Now, by cascading it with R feature detection now, is making the whole system too bogus. So I can say that now and be justified. That is my methodology. Now, do you agree with the methodology that this one is a question of quality of the paper? what is the quality? Yeah, I see that it presents this result. It presents this method, and it said it did this and this and that. But in my own opinion, do I agree with it? Do I think that he did what he claimed to have done? Do I think that what he did is even a quality? Sometimes you may be able to have a feel of this when you read, some people have a section for their experiment setup, and you may be able to fault the experiment and say that this experimental setup is faulty, and so because of that, you do not agree with the methodology. Now, that is now all about the methodology. Then you can come at significant results obtained. So if I come to the, so this is the significant, so you can see performance of faster RCNN model and R cascade classifier. So I can talk about this. You can see the metrics. That's why I said that discussing the metrics is very important. So by the time you are done, you can mention some of those key results that he got. In this case now, it will be a quantitative result that maybe its precision now is 0.83, and okay, for faster RCNN is 0.98. The recall is this, that one is that. So you can discuss it, and from this result also, you can also bring in your own opinion. That looking at this, somebody may say, I have a feeling that the R cascade is actually underfitting. Maybe if he had taken more points, he will have got a better precision, you know. And somebody may also say that I have a feeling that this faster RCNN is overfitting the data set. Maybe if he had increased the data set, this result will not be as good as this. So you can bring in your own opinion. By the way, what I'm saying is opinion. Remember, I have not read this paper, so I don't know whether what I'm saying is completely true or it's not completely true. So I'm just saying that you can bring in your own opinion, not just what is written in the paper, and that is the idea behind literature review. It is you now critically extraying what somebody else have done to tell us, in your own judgment, what do you think about the paper. So, all right, so when you have done that, I guess you're almost done. If you have any significant reference that you want to read, maybe in the paper, like it just mentioned some references. Maybe when you are reading the literature review section, and you feel like, yeah, I want to read that paper also, so you may just put that one here. So I want to show you an example of what I have done, what I've done in the past with this. Okay, yeah. So so the title of the paper, as an example, is an efficient approach for augmented mass segmentation and classification in mammogram. This is one of my research in computer medical AI and the likes. So you can see, of course, I didn't fill this too, but you can see how to cite the paper here. Now, this paper presents mass segmentation of mammogram with active contour model after the mass area has been extracted by characteristics of shape and margin of mass. The classification was done using random forest classifier with shape, blah, blah, blah. So you can see my description of the paper now, not just regurgitating the title. That's what I feel we need to put. All right, so reading the introduction, those are the things I pick. This has methodology. Yeah, so okay, no, these are the method in the literature, not methodology. Oh, I feel I didn't feel this thing very well. Let me look at another one. Maybe I feel better than this. All right, so this is a description of the methodology. So textual feature analysis typically analyze blah, 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 statistical was done. So do you agree with the method? The review paper are outdated. So you can see significant results obtained. So I talk about the significant results obtained. Then I have my own feel of it. So you can see. So that is how you can feel this this paper. that we have. So you can have your own reading log. I have it for so many papers. But this is just for mammogram. I have for different projects that I work, and you can almost come back to this and read it all over again, and you still feel there's a lot of things that are there. All right. So that is is there any question about how to fill this?
So we have less than 4 minutes for this session. Okay. So the filling of the form will actually come and be tomorrow. That's the main focus of tomorrow's session.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much, sir. So and thank you very much for joining today to listen to me. I hope one or two things have been gained in our discussion. And thank you also for your questions. They are very, very interesting questions. Thank you very much, Prof, for having me. I'm so grateful. God bless you, sir.
We thank Engineer Yinka for that presentation. And we are just going to take only one question before we go for the group discussion. So number one, okay, two, we have Seth Jet and then Zainab Tasala Mohammed. Seth Jet first, followed by Zainab Tasala Mohammed. And then we have just 5 minutes to end this session. Please, immediately after this session, kindly join your tutorial or group group call. So in there, you will have a bit of interaction and you will also exchange knowledge regarding what you have learned in the class today. Zainab, over to you, please.
So my question is on the chat.
Okay, we will read the question. Yeah, okay. I want to ask the presenter to give us more light on structuring your search. What I mean by that is, how do you search for a paper for literature review? Sometimes when searching for paper for literature on a database, for example, Google Scholar, your keywords is there, but you are getting something different. For example, yesterday I was searching on maize leaf coloration measurement related papers. Some papers I got were so different from what I need. Is that I'm not getting the right way to search for it or not? So set your own question too, so that we take the two questions at the same time.
Three things quickly, sir. One, I think the issue of the date of search is missing in the presentation. Is it not possible for somebody to set the duration of search? I want to search from 2022 to 2020. I think that's possible in advanced search. I don't know why that is missing. The second issue has to do with, there are, among the search engine, there are search room where you can actually search thesis only. A good example is Ethos. Most published theses are actually deposited in Ethos, and people who are doing PhD may do well to search that place. The third issue has to do with issue about critical literature review and systematic literature review. They may not, are they necessarily the same? Is systematic literature review necessarily a critical literature review? Thank you. And maybe the last point is to say that is it possible to, instead of this your Word document, some of us prefer to use Excel to have our summary of literature search or literature review. What's your take? Thank you, sir.
Okay, thanks. And then, okay, we have Abdullah Abubakar Karu, also Musa Abubakar. So please, just the last two, please quickly, and then we will give him 5 minutes.
Yes, good morning. I was just thinking, two questions, right? First is you have, I know you talk about inclusion, exclusion criteria. From many of the studies, what's an average number of papers in the end that should make for your review, whether systematic or the typical literature review. One, two, like Prof mentioned, I think I've not reviewed yesterday's lecture, but I don't know if it was discussed on how to form your search keywords and how to, you did highlight using wildcard and all of that. But you know, in practice, it's not a linear science. You try this and then, so I'm thinking, can you tell us how it is, what's the best method to have the very keyword, that the ultimate keyword as it used to be to say? Thank you.
Hello,
Thanks
good
a lot.
morning, everyone.
Yeah, Musa Abubakar, over to you, please.
Sir, thank you, presenter, for the wonderful presentation. Actually, what I want to ask is that for some of us that missed yesterday's class, is it can we also join the next session, or it's not possible? Thank you.
Session also, and you can join any of the is raising up his hand, or he has is that new icon or what? So if new, you can quickly ask your question. So okay, we are going to share the URL right now in the next 2 minutes, and then Engineer Yinka Adedigba, please kindly answer the question. By 10:37, we should be able to move to the other platform. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for these questions again. Okay, so I will just try and brush through some of them. I know that Prof will add to anyone that I didn't answer very well. Okay, now it is actually an oversight to say I didn't include date as search criteria. Actually, then yesterday it was actually talked about that there's a particular range, for instance, 5 years back and all of that you may want to search. It is also possible for you to search based on a particular date range. Especially this flexibility comes, I guess, in almost all search engines and database that you may want to use, including Google Scholar. All right. Now, difference between critical and systematic literature review. Well, critical literature review may not necessarily systematic literature review in my own understanding. Now, critical literature review can take any form. It could be an expert review, it could be a systematic review, it could be even it could be state of the art that is just considering the trend, but then it's not just mentioning the papers, but it's discussing them in depth. Like I showed you an Elsevier paper that talked about conceptual framework and a systematic review. The reviews presented there are actually critical. They are in-depth. By critical, we only mean that the in-depth review that is done. So the papers are considered in-depth. You consider the method that the person used, the result he got, and then you tell us about the method, not just, I mean, you discuss the method, not just tell us about the method. So, and then you give us alternative methods that can be done, that can be used. And probably there are other people that have applied those alternative methods than the one the person used, and what is the result they got. So this can take any form. It could be a systematic review, it may not necessarily be a systematic review, but it is possible to do critical review in any form. Yeah, by saying we, I mean we in the family of Professor Ibinu, we have been using this Microsoft Word that is shared with us as template for a long time, and maybe that's the reason why I use that. It is possible to use Excel, especially for people that are very, very comfortable with Excel. So I think you can use it if you are comfortable with Excel. All right, on the average number of papers that a person can use for systematic review. I think it is subjective. It's subjective to the availability of the paper and the number of people who are on the paper who are willing to read. I have read a systematic review where they even talk about how they define the paper that they are reviewing. So, for instance, if there are 4 people on the author list and maybe 20 paper is allocated to each person to review critically, that can increase the number of papers to cover. Compared to if a PhD student whose supervisor is not going to read for him and every other person on the author role, the number of people, the number of papers that you can read in depth and also discuss in depth will be limited by the number of authors that are there and the time for doing that. So it is subjective. I have seen papers that use only 60 papers for their systematic literature review. I have read that. I have seen papers that use 200. I have seen different ones. I think it is flexible and it depends on the author and the time available for them to do that. Now, how to form your keywords? I guess the best way I can suggest, based on my own experience, the little experience I've had, is that you can formulate your keywords from your problem statement, or you can form it from the objective of your research. Even if you are writing a paper, every paper has an objective because you have to add something that you are addressing. So in what you are addressing now, you can form your keywords from there and use those keywords to search the database. So I feel the best keyword are still keywords that are that either talk to your objective or talk to the problem you are trying to solve. So that is my understanding. I think I am done. Prof, please, you can talk about some of them.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for the wonderful session. It was very interesting and comprehensive. We really appreciate it, sir.
So we want all on the screen now. You will see the Google Meet URL for about 4 projects. Please feel free to join any of your choice. So it is 10:39 a.m. West African time now. By 10:45, the discussion will be open. But please kindly join the room right now. But by 10:45, you are going to start the discussion. We want you to discuss what you have learned, and then there you will also have practical sessions where others will also be sharing their experience. From us at Summit University Offer, we say thank you for joining this morning session, and we look forward to seeing you in the tutorial or discussion room. So bye for now, and we use this opportunity to thank all our colleagues from around the world that have joined this session. And we also use this opportunity to thank our senior colleagues and our mentors in the house. We are very grateful for your presence. Bye for now. So please, you can leave this chat room and join the other chat room. Thank you. Bye for now.